Hello, and welcome back to Trails of Cold Steel 2. Hopefully, finally the last day in Breahard. All that should be left is talking to Eustace, hopefully being able to leave, talking to Emma, and then talking to Scarlet. And then, well, but I have to return to the Courageous Airport, so if I can't leave now, I've talked to Scarlet first, it should be fine. But it's almost over, and then we'll be out of Breahard, and it'll be time for the fourth part of the Act 2, which should be the last part of Act 2. It's weird that that required a prompt. Car magazine called Imperial Car Yearly. As if Eustace would be into that. I don't know, it doesn't really track to me that he'd be into it. Also, these books are really tall. They're very tall. I'm expecting this to be kind of dull. Because honestly, I can't relate in any way. Nice bed, though. I like the idea of having those sorts of things that you can pull to block out light. Because if you have like this world, they don't have computers in their room, so there's actually no point. But if you have a computer somewhere in your room, and it has a light, as long as you don't go full shut off, if it has a light that blinks, if it's like sleeping or hibernating, whatever, it'll blink. And that can be annoying. And so having something to block it would be useful. Of course, they don't have computers in this world, in this context, so there's no point in the weird, fancy beds, but oh well, time to talk to Eustace and get it. Sorry. Why? He has a sword down there, he has a sword up here. It just looks silly. Anyway, let's talk to him. Let's hope that it's actually interesting. And not just retreading the same Eustace is sad because his dad's a bad person. The RMP should be able to take care of the mansion for the time being. I'll have to save, though. Perhaps this is a chance for me to take one of the horses out for a final ride before I leave. You could bring one of the horses with you. That sounds kind of fun, actually. Please, just be a horse ride. It never is, but I would welcome it being just a horse ride. Mind if I join you, Eustace? I haven't seen any of your family's horses since that race we had. Not at all. That gives me an idea, in fact. Come with me. Where? Please just be a fun event. Rean borrowed one of the horses from the Albury mansion, while Eustace rode another. Together they set off on horseback towards Aurochs Canyon, with Eustace taking lead. This is a genuine question. Why taking lead instead of taking the lead? I assume there's some context for it, but I'm curious. Anyway, this is where we had our duel before, isn't it? Why'd we come here? The appearing sword out of nowhere. Draw your sword, Rean. I'd like to request another duel with you. Eustace. Do you remember what you told me during our field study here? You claimed that there was something honest about the way I fought, and that it was because I learned my swordsmanship from someone I trusted. I did, didn't I? My trust in my brother has not faltered. However, because of that trust, I fear that when the time comes to fight him, my sword will be hindered by hesitation. I dread the day that I'll have to turn my blade upon my own brother. See, that's the moment where Eustace being sad feels like it would actually have payoff. Like, Eustace being sad about arresting his father. His father was terrible. He was never a good dad. Whereas Rufus was good to his brother. He helped him. Like, that conflict will feel much more earned if/when it eventually arises. I kind of am looking forward to that. It's going to be melodramatic, over the top, probably, but it's going to be a better payoff than, oh, he arrested his terrible dad. I'll turn my blade upon my own brother. I'm not proud of it, but that's how it is. I can hardly blame you, Eustace. anyone in your position would feel that way. Perhaps, but that's why I'd like to face off with you, Rean. Whether I win or lose, I believe our duel will allow me to cast away my doubts. How? Genuine question. I'm not a swords dueler. How does fighting someone totally unrelated to your brother affect your doubts about being able to fight your brother? Like, the logic doesn't... I don't know what the logic is. Or even the emotion. And through that, I should be able to better trust in my own convictions, regardless of whom I face, because you fight him in a duel that you're clearly not going to kill him in? What? I realize that this is a somewhat selfish request, but please, this is important to me. I still don't get it. I really don't. Am I even allowed to say no after that speech? Can you really call it a speech if it's only like a couple sentences? I don't know. Sorry, now I want the definition of a speech. I'll keep going through the reading as I search. It's not often you ask for favors like this either. So sure, let's go. The issue with trying to search the definition of speech is the word speech is just speaking. Speech is the action of speaking. So after that, speech, I guess, is technically correct, but it's a little bit... I guess the fact that we call important, you know, extended speech times, like a speech is pretty silly when everything you speak is speech. Now I hate the word speech. It's like when you say a word too much, it loses meaning. Now I'm like, speech is just a bad word for speeches. Just know that I won't be holding back, except you will, because you're not going to kill him. Hit me with all you've got. With pleasure. Like, you can't say you're not holding back when you're not going to even potentially kill them. I'm not reading that because it's meaningless. It's the obvious. They fought each other till the end. Ooh hoo hoo. Necessary writing that totally isn't for padding time. It definitely isn't padding time. It's too short to be padding time. Aren't you supposed to try to, like... Normally your stomach will expand a little more than that when you're breathing heavily. I don't know. Well, I mean, the issue is they're not actually, like, inflating their chest. They're just pushing up a point in the middle of the character models. So it's rotating their back forwards, which makes it look really bad, but you're also not supposed to dwell on it. Pant, pant. I don't think I can move another muscle. Is your lung your lungs are muscles, aren't they? I'm not actually sure. They're an organ, so they're probably not muscles. Though your diaphragm might be a muscle. Anyway, the fact they're breathing means that some muscles are being used. Yeah, the lungs aren't muscles, but the diaphragm might be. Because something needs to move. The diaphragm is what does a bunch of the work for your lungs to breathe? I'm not a biologist. I'm not knowledgeable about it. I'm just sidetracked by the diaphragm. Yeah, it's a skeletal muscle. It's the most important muscle of respiration, which basically, I would say, indicates that if you're breathing, you're using a muscle. So, haha, got you, Rean. Neither can I. Even in real battles, it's not often that I fight to the point of exhaustion, because generally in real battles, either you beat them or you die. In a real battle, but in this world, they never die, so it doesn't matter. I think it's because we can read each other so well that we're able to fight to this point, really. Granted, I could see Master Ka-Fi and Viscount Arcade keeping up the whole day without getting tired or bored. We're not them. But I still think we did pretty well for a couple of teenagers. Agreed. It was fun in our own strange way. Thank you, Rean. I feel as though I can go forth and fight with that same honesty yet again for some reason. I may have been taught by Rufus, but it was Class 7 who helped me to further develop my skills. No need to thank me. I'm just glad you were honest with me and asked. Beyond awful. Haha. This one wasn't bad. If this is where it ends, this was an okay Bond event. It's not dwelling too much. It's not repeating what half the other Bond events where they're focused on use. Well, the Bond events didn't focus on uses, but like a lot of the conversations with people were about Eustace and how rough it is that he had to arrest his father. I much prefer that Eustace didn't dwell on it because, frankly, I've never been in the situation. I, as a person, think that if I found out that my dad, my mom were serial killers, I'd be fine arresting them. Unless they threatened to kill me if I tried to get them arrested, in which case, yeah, maybe not. But I don't know. I understand emotion exists. So logically, I can understand why it could be difficult. I just personally don't get it. Because I've never had to deal with that type of thing. What a peaceful place. It was during our field study, of course. But it was nice to see that... What? What is... Like, the sentence... Who goes... What a nice place. What a peaceful place. It was during our field study, of course. But it's nice to see that that's still the case. Like... It was during our field study, of course. What was... It was during our field study, of course. But, like... You didn't need to... This sentence didn't need to be as long. Like, commenting about the field study doesn't add anything to the sentence. It's just, what a peaceful place. Keep it that. That's all you need to say. This piece could be a recent development, though. These past few weeks might not have been so kind. They certainly haven't been kind to Eustace. God, I preferred Eustace when Eustace wasn't talking about Eustace. I much prefer that. Still, there's not much we can do now except rest and recover, and we need it. This does seem like a nice enough place to rest, to be honest. Hey, would you mind if I sat with you for a while? Not to steal your idea or anything. But this does seem like a nice spot to take a break. I certainly thought so. Please make yourself comfortable. I want more Celine. Celine is the only thing that makes Emma interesting. Well, and the other magic stuff, but like, it's nice and quiet here. Not too cold either. It's December. How is it not cold? Do they live, like, is Bereahard the equivalent of near the equator? Wait, it's December and the leaves are only orange and yellow. They've not fallen off. But they did change color, I think. Don't think I've been able to sit back and relax like this in a long time. I feel so heavy. Must be more tired than I thought. And he's gonna fall asleep. Wow. And then she's gonna help him lie down. Rean. Looks like he fell asleep. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. He must have been exhausted after Aurochs Fort. I don't think sleeping like that way is realistic, though. I think he would lean back more. In that case... Like, I don't think you could keep your spine totally straight when you fall asleep like that. Because your head drops forward, your spine sort of curls, and you tilt forward. If you're leaning back, you could probably fall asleep without the usual, you fall too far forwards and you jolt awake. But like, if you're vertical, your head falls forward, your body falls forward, you jerk awake because falling out of trees is lethal. Huh, I must have fallen asleep. On something nice and comfy, no less. Hello there, sleepyhead. Emma. I don't think this is in character. I really don't. Whoa. Emma. Like, it would be in character, but, like, I don't think it fit. Like, yes, it's well-meaning, well-intentioned, but, like, I think she's still the type of character that wouldn't be confident enough to do that. To be like, oh, lie down on my knees. Thighs? Knees? I don't even know. Emma. Or lap is what you would say, but why was I on your lap? Did you sleep well? Best sleep of my life. I would assume the month-long sleep from Valimar would have been better. Don't change the subject. Well, let me apologize. No. I really didn't expect to end up sleeping on your lap like that. I'm the one who put you there in the first place, so there's no need to think about apologizing. I couldn't leave you to sleep on a cold, hard bench after all. I mean, you could. One of my duties as a witch is to support you. Just think of this as another form of support. That's kind of a stretch. It is. Hehe. I would appreciate it if you let me do this much for you at least. It's all thanks to both you and Valimar that Berea Hearts regained peace. In fact, I believe we've managed to come as far as we have thanks to your efforts. I don't know about that, Emma. You're forgetting that I had all of you. Ah, everyone works together again. I've been able to push myself through all this only thanks to the people who chose to stick with me. Besides, I never would have come across Valimar in the first place if it weren't for your guidance. I don't think that's true. Is it? Like, I guess the nuance is off. Come across and been able to open the door. There's a different nuance there, I think. Because I think without Emma, they wouldn't have been able to open the door, potentially. But no, they opened the door anyway. They would have come across Valimar anyway, right? He wouldn't have learned enough about it to use it effectively, but... You think that much of us, Rean? Us. Well, yeah. We still got a long road ahead of us, right? That road will eventually lead us to Crow and Vita. So, sorry, but you're still stuck with us, Emma. We need your support now more than ever. Hehe, I can live with that. I'll do everything in my power to help, both as your friend and as your class president. I really hate the emphasis on the school side, because it's not school anymore. Ooh, 6,451. Auto-Curia 2. Auto-Curia 2. What does that, like, is that just 10% cure stat, cures debuffs? And it should be a higher chance to proc. Now, the irony is, I never have them linked together anyway. I always have him linked with Fee for the S-Break overcharge stuff. What's Almighty Blow, though? Increases Finishing Blow, which is Finishing Blow if the blow has low HP. Increases Finishing Blow's power and activation frequency even more than Powerful Strike does. That's so lame. Link Attack? Okay. Finishing Blow, Powerful Strike, and Almighty Blow are all the same thing, just upgrading Finishing Blow. Whereas hers, Finishing Blow, Curia, different, upgraded Curia. Only one of these is just an upgrade. Except Rush 2 is technically an upgrade, but I intend to keep doing what I can as a president. Kind of can't wait till the third game. The third game will have different characters. I don't know how much... Like, I assume the different characters are... I imagine the main characters from this show up eventually. But having different characters to I'm just checking something really quick because I want to make sure I didn't miss it. Good. Having different characters will be welcome as long as they aren't basically just the same characters personality-wise. Okay, then I have to talk to... Oh, this is going to be awful because I don't care about her. I don't care about Scarlet as a character. Scarlet's room. It's not her room, it's the room in the annex with Scarlet in it. It's weird to phrase it as Scarlet's room. Though I guess prisoners in prison cells, it's Blank's prison cell, so it makes sense to call it her room. It should be a prison cell, but... What are those chains? Are they pulled to activate things? Or are they just for visual, in which case you would run into them if you're tall? Please just be unconscious. Please no talking to her. Never mind. Lame. I don't want to talk to her.
I knew it would be you. Did you come to listen to me whine and complain about you?
I know you didn't want me to save you, but you don't have to hate me for it.
Well, I mean, she can. If she wants to go out in glorious battle, that's on her.
I was just joking. I don't care what happens to me. Whether I live or die or get executed as a terrorist, what happens, happens.
Stop being so flippant about the whole thing.
I really just don't know Rean. Like, it's...
But you seem to be a little more cheerful than I was expecting you to be. I'm glad.
How is that cheerful? Like, I guess less cheerful would be actively
like
trying to
right
stab herself.
That's good.
My only complaint is that I wasn't allowed to ascend to heaven like I wanted to.
You wouldn't have gone to heaven. You weren't a good enough person for that.
But perhaps this is just how it was meant to be.
I wish I could tell you. You said you used to be a sister, right? You mentioned something about training over in Arteria, too.
Because, like, yes, she's trying to right wrongs, sort of. But again, I will always go back to the fact that the Imperial Liberation Front did an attacking cross-spell where totally unrelated people could have been pulled into it and killed. That would not be... like, if they're attacking within Erebonia, there's at least a certain... they could justify it to themselves, saying every Erebonian citizen is part of the problem, so them getting injured is not an issue. I don't agree with that, but at least for their own internal justification, that could happen. I don't understand how internally to themselves they could justify attacking in another state entirely that is being oppressed by Erebonia, so clearly not that, it's being oppressed, so it's not complicit. They do help, they have to pay taxes because they're forced to, but how that can reconcile with, I could have gone to heaven, assuming this world's heaven, you have to actually be a good person to go to. Maybe everyone goes. They don't really, I don't know if they justify that in this world. But my assumption is they'd have to be good people if it's based on, you know, Christianity. And I don't know if Judaism has heaven. If it's called heaven.
I did, though that training was a long time ago. That really takes me back.
So that wasn't a lie? Sorry. It wasn't that I didn't believe you, it's just...
If you're shocked that it wasn't a lie, then you didn't believe her.
I'll have you know I grew up in one of the most pious families in the country. Hard as that may be to believe. I was so happy when I was first invited to join the church. I doubt you'd know, but the church is a fairly complex organization with plenty of divisions within it. The part I was invited to join was an organization called the Congregation for the Sacraments.
I can't remember which one that is. That's not the, like, stealth assassins, right? Maybe it is.
They're a group full of immensely skilled people who take on some unique missions, to put it mildly.
That is the stealth assassins, isn't it? Like the ones that go around and collect artifacts and, if necessary, shoot people with salt to turn them into salt?
It made me
I'm gonna
happier
check real
than
quick.
you can imagine to be recognized by people like that at such a young age. I didn't have any special abilities of my own, but I left home, trained my hardest, and eventually became a squire.
Like, Reese? R-I-E-S? And Kevin? Maybe?
A squire? As in a kind of knight? I thought you said you became a sister. Unless you're saying the church has knights too. Ugh, I'm getting confused now.
That's because you don't know anything.
Anyone would be in your position. Their image of the church begins and ends with priests and mass. As it was, my days in Arteria came to an abrupt end. Just before I went out on my first mission, I got word of what had happened. I hurried back to Erebonia as fast as I could, but I was too late to do anything.
Lady Scarlet, I think you should get some more rest.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make you strain yourself.
Yeah, the Gralls Ritter, which are important, are they're an order within the Congregation of the Sacraments.
You really are a softie. If you want to hear the rest, you'll have to come back another time.
So yeah, the Sacraments are collecting artifacts. That is correct.
So, if you're interested.
I do want the story of this. I'm glad they weren't like, oh, woe is me.
Going from being a sister to a terrorist, but that's just what happened. I'm still convinced that it would have been a waste for her to have died back there.
I mean, not necessarily. I actually think she could be fun. Given that they're not focusing, at least this cutscene didn't focus on her having given up, it focused on her background. If it focuses on her background and like all that could be fun. I actually think that might make it, from a story perspective, not a total waste of time to have saved her. Just using her as a vehicle for exposition could be fun.
I'm glad she seems to have calmed down for now.
Calmed down because she physically fell asleep after talking for 5 minutes. You can't really call that calm down when they just physically don't have energy left.
I'll have to come back another time to see how she's doing.
Anyway, that wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, because it actually was background. Background I respect. It's still kind of, I think, an ineffective way of introducing the villainy of the Blood and Iron Chancellor. Like, within the framing of the Cold Steel games, I don't think they've done a good enough job showing how awful of a person he is. The previous games have shown that, but within the context of Cold Steel 1 and Cold Steel 2, they haven't shown the terrible things he does. And that undercuts everything. If they showed in the game, not via storytelling from someone who would be biased, it would work better. Like, the moment he's back, because he's not dead, because Trails to Azure spoils that. The moment he's back and he wipes out a town, kills everyone in it, boom. That will work to show that he's not a good person. Something like that. Whereas now, Crow is biased. S is potentially biased. We don't have the full context of her story yet. Though, like, her siblings died because her town got paved through, maybe? Something like that. But they haven't shown that. We don't have context. We don't really know how it goes. And V was just a bad guy. He was a Jaeger doing a Jaeger job. He died doing a Jaeger... Well, no, his buddies died doing a Jaeger job. And honestly, V was kind of reasonable. He's like, well, I don't hold it against him, but also... Like, he was aware that that's the nature of the job. He doesn't think, just because of that he's... well, he hates him, but, like, there was logic to it. Crow is biased. We haven't seen the JEZ from other perspectives. And S, we don't have the full story. They, like... I still don't think anything they do will really justify the fact that they attacked Crossbell and dragged other people who had nothing to do with it into it, potentially. So their actions will never be justified. Well, will almost never be justified. If it's revealed that if they'd killed him there, they would have saved tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives, sure. Then that their actions could potentially be justified if they knew that something that would kill hundreds of thousands of people would have occurred or will occur if they don't kill him. Then it could be justified. But that hasn't happened yet. So until something like that happens, their actions will probably never be justified. Should I go inside? There's still more to see in Brehard. Except, you have seen everything in Brehard. I've gotten... trying to click a thing. I've done the Bond events. I've talked to Scarlet. I got Gambler Jack Chapter 12. I got the Fruit Parfait. I got the Windy Coloring. And I'm done. And I suppose I'll head in. I can sit and wait for the others to get back. Except you just had a nap. Rean. Who's it gonna be? Oh. Big action set piece time. Looks like we caught you at just the right time. Were you planning on going inside too? Oh, hello. What's wrong? You seem all flustered. Well, we got a message from the guy still inside the ship. They said that something's happened over in Crossbell. Ooh. Okay. This could be the tree showing up? I hope it's the tree. Please be the tree. In Crossbell? Yeah, we know where Crossbell is. We saw the city covered by a blue barrier from where Gorelia Fortress was, but it's not that, I'm guessing. Believe it or not, it's something even weirder. We were planning to go and get a closer look at it. Would you mind grabbing everyone else still in town and bringing them back here? How about you guys help with that too? Or at least Angelica. Yes, you have to get up in the air, but it would be faster to have at least 2 people going around to collect people. Obviously, they can just phone call, so Rean just calls them all. It's easy. So he shouldn't be grabbing them. He should be calling them. We'll be getting everything ready for liftoff in the meantime. Okay, I'll be back as soon as I can. I'll leave everything here to you. I mean, having a second person would make it go twice as fast. Oh, except if he finds one person, then sends that person, and then 4 people sends out, and then they're done. He only needs to find 2-3 people, and that's it. He just needs to send the other people he finds to find other people, to find other people, and then they all come back. Rean quickly left to find his classmates. Again, phone call. He could just have called them all. Once everyone was gathered at Brehard Airport, on the ship, they boarded the Courageous, then promptly took off. Why would they gather outside the ship instead of on it? 38 is the correct amount. 10,500 Mira. From completing the quest? Which quest gave 10,000 Mira? The monster hunt combined with other ones?
Upper rank you go. Here's a bonus from
Grail
the
Locket.
Academy.
Which I believe Grail Locket should be immunity to all debuffs and like status effects maybe? Or Jacket 2 is just armor.
Well done.
I kind of wish armor had unique effects. Like Aura Jacket gave magic evasion. It might, but some sort of unique
I'm
effect
so proud of you,
would be
Rean.
fun. Is it the tree? If it's the tree, Trails to Azure, I think it was only a few days before Azure was done. I don't remember the timeline though. It's been a while since I finished that game. Not a crazy long time, but I think once the tree showed up, it was a rush to the end of the game. So I think it's at most within the next week that game ended. And in that time span, the Blood and Iron Chancellor was revealed pretty soon, I thought. Of course, to the east-northeast is clear. Yeah, east-northeast seems actually right. I'm glad. All hands, remain vigilant. The ship's approaching maximum cruising speed. We should be getting close to the fortress soon. Please get in touch with the 4th Armored Division and the Railway Military Police. Aye, Captain. Oh my, I think I can see something in the distance. big. You wouldn't be able to see anything. Ah, readings, good. Because she can't see out the window. She should be able to see it. Like, why are they positioned so they can't see out the window? What the? I'm getting some very strange readings here. Actually, not allowing your crew to see out the window so they can only focus on their jobs might be good design. Big tree. Oh, I wonder how the big tree is going to look in this game. If it is the big tree. Those propellers were not right. The left and right propellers looked so different. Because one had them rotating sort of at a, like, synchronized. One had them slightly off. It's just weird looking.
There seems to be something emitting light in the distance as well.
A city.
What in the world is that?
Big tree. Come on, look good. Oh, that looks so bad. It could look so much better than that. It could look so much better than that. It looks better up close than it did at the distance, but it could look so much better.
I don't know.
Maybe not in 2013 or whenever this was originally released, though.
That blue barrier that was surrounding the city before is gone.
I'm going to check timelines from Azure, though, real quick as this is going.
But now there's something even more unbelievable in its place.
An azure tree?
I don't think a normal person would say Azure. They would say blue. The only reason it says Azure is because Trails to Azure.
Yeah, it looks like a tree to me too. It's got all those branches coming out of it.
No, you don't have to say branches.
I don't think trees so vast even exist in legend. Never mind in reality.
Yeah, there's something completely otherworldly about it.
Do you know what it is, Celine?
I wish I did. There's nothing like that in any of the clan's legends.
Just what is happening over in Crossbell?
Oh, I miss the aesthetic of Crossbell. I'm looking at a guide at it to try to get like a timeline. I really miss the aesthetic. I kind of preferred the visual design of those games. I don't think it's a better design. I just miss it.
Now that's damned impressive.
Because, sorry, there's just something about the Crossbell and Sky ones that it's old looking, but it feels dated, but not like this. This style doesn't look great, and it clearly like attempts to be good looking, but then it isn't. Whereas Crossbell and Sky games have that old look where that's sort of been accepted as a general stylistic appearance potentially, whereas this is just not good looking. It might eventually reach the point of stylistically a choice, but
It must be over 2,000 arge tall.
Oh, never thought I'd come face to face with something that big in my lifetime. Life's just full of surprises.
Oh, this is the very essence of beauty. So this is the fruit of the Azure Zero project, a testament to the power of human obsession.
Looks like everything did go according to plan. Not that any other outcome was ever a possibility with my illustrious lord lending a hand.
So that showed up as a result of that phantasmal blaze plan of yours? And you're planning on spawning something like that over here too?
That we are. What you see before you is a miracle born of human hands, made manifest by the Zero Child. The end of the second movement is finally nigh. Let the preparations begin.
yeah, like this event is within the last like day. or two of actual gameplay in the Trails to Azure. Of course, Trails to Azure then goes on with the occupation of Crossbell and then the liberation at the end of it, like 2 years later or something.
This story's finale is bound to be one to remember.
Kinda can't wait. Can't the bird teleport?
Guess it's almost time to wrap things up.
Or does the bird not teleport and just is invisible and shows up where it's needed?
Wonder if it'll go how she and Campanella want it to, though.
Why is he here and not on an airship?
Excuse us, Lord Rufus.
Just airships seem more efficient than having a physical stationary office. And safer too, contextually.
Well, well, if it isn't General Le Guin and Brigadier General Bardius. I had thought you were still on the Western Front. Might I ask what brings you here?
Do you even need to ask? First Ruhr, now Bereahard. The Eastern Front is collapsing as we speak. I see no reason for us to remain in the West any longer.
I wouldn't go quite that far, General. As long as the West remains well protected, Heimdall will not fall. As for Nortia and the elements which sided with Duke Alberea, they could always abandon their neutrality. The war is still ours for the winning. That hasn't changed.
That's not... Ours for the winning might be correct, but it's like... If they're currently winning, the normal saying would be, the war is still ours to lose, as in... As long as we don't mess up, we will win. Ours for the winning might be a different saying, but the saying, the war is still ours to lose, is I think the normal, quote unquote, normal saying that would be used in this context.
An impressive analysis.
By the way, would you happen to know anything about that vast tree that's sprouted up in Crossbell? Is it even a tree to begin with?
I haven't viewed it from up close, but the pictures were like nothing I'd ever seen. It could be completely harmless, but it's likely causing Erebonians in the East no shortage of anxiety just by being there.
We had to fly all the way to the edge to see it, apparently.
I quite agree, and that concerns me as well. Still, Duke Cayenne insists its appearance was planned. There should be nothing to fear.
Really now?
I was aware he was affiliating himself with some suspicious society of sorts. Could the two be related?
What happens behind the scenes is of no concern to us, I suppose. We are warriors. We live to fight on the battlefield. So, dear Chief of Staff, who is our next opponent to be?
Getting right down to business, I see. I'd like for the two of you to defend the capital. Your opponents are to be the 3rd and 4th Armored Divisions, who will be advancing upon it within the next few days.
Timeline-wise, I think the Civil War gets resolved in the next few days, doesn't it? Like, it has to be resolved within the next couple weeks at most. I mean, gameplay-wise, it has to be resolved soon as well, but just from Crossbell's spoilers, so I prefer viewing things from release order, because that's the order the games are produced means that would be the assumed order that most people, when the games are being released, would have played them. So having that flow is generally going to be planned around that to an extent, and I kind of like operating with that. So it was also somewhat vague in my memory. It wasn't totally, oh, within days. It might have been within weeks. I'm not certain.
Oh, is that so?
What? So they're risking everything in an attempt to take back Heimdall?
That is what I predict will happen, yes. I think Craig the Red and One-Eyed Zex will prove to be enough entertainment for the two of you, wouldn't you agree? After all, only the best will do for the two strongest soldiers the Provincial Army has to offer.
All right, you win. You have my attention. The prospect alone has my blood boiling in anticipation.
I concur. Very well. We shall do as you say. This is sure to be a clash for the ages.
Volflame Palace underneath, which means that this is going to be the reveal, maybe? Or maybe this is Ouroboros. Oh, no. No. Okay, so this would be Ouroboros adjacent, so it's not, the guy not being
I
dead.
had no idea all this existed right under the palace. Duke Cayenne, can I ask exactly where we're going?
There is no need to look so concerned, Your Highness.
I mean, a creepy elevator is pretty creepy.
The place we are traveling to is to the center of this city. No, this country. And a place that governs a great power. It is where everything both ends and begins.
I'm not sure I understand what you mean.
Please, be careful of your footing. If you were to fall off the platform, you most assuredly would go splat and die.
It's lame, right? It's lame writing. I find it funny, but it's lame. But also, her face is kind of glitchy looking to either side of her nose. It just looks weird there. I mean, he would be aware that falling to his death would be splat and death, right? Like,
Now, it won't do to frighten him.
it's nothing new.
And I must say, I don't recall doing so ever being part of your duties.
Pardon me. I believe we're almost there.
Is that supposed to be water or is it supposed to be blood?
I've been waiting for you.
Vita Clotilde? The opera singer?
Did they not broadcast all the information where she was... Or was it only shown to Class 7 that she was the one broadcasting the information across the nation and whatever? Or at least to the school.
What are you doing in a place like this?
Greetings, witch. I see that tree emerged successfully.
It certainly did. All that remains now is to continue the preparations here. However, let me remind you that under no circumstance...
What?
If you would, spare me. You've made yourself perfectly clear on occasions past.
I really think these games lean a bit heavily on the partway through a sentence getting cut off. It's really just obnoxious. It's meant to show the characters being annoying, but like, it happens way too often.
I am hardly enough of a fool to attempt to defy commands from a witch.
What are the two of you talking about? And why did you bring me here?
Patience, Your Highness. All will be clear in due time.
I mean, it's either a sacrifice or brainwashing.
Oh my. Could this be it?
What is that thing? What's this feeling?
Marvelous! Marvelous! This is the legendary demon said to wield 1,000 weapons. The Crimson Calamity, which was sealed away by Saint Sandlot and Dreichel's 250 years ago, and a fragment of the great power.
Ooh, it's red, so it's
the
evil.
Vermilion Testarossa!
Was Testarossa a oh, what are they called? Septarian? I want to search to see if that's one of the Septarians that has been revealed up until this point in the series, but the issue is if I searched Septarians, it would definitely spoil something. I really do want to search. Because it's the type of thing that would have been mentioned offhand in one of the previous games. The name has been used already. I just can't remember what the specific context was.
The Azure Tree? That's the name of the bizarre tree that appeared in Crossbell, then?
It should just be that's the name we've given it.
Yeah, I found it out from the guild branch over there. Things still seem to be tense over in their direction. No one's really sure what it's for or what it can do. Don't think it'll have any direct effect on Erebonia, though.
Well, I suppose that's good news. Sort of.
Still, people on this side of the country are understandably feeling uneasy about it.
How do you know? How have you been gathering opinions from people?
Yeah, people have enough to worry about without a giant glowing tree sprouting up from out of nowhere.
Anyone would start feeling nervous at the sight of such a thing.
At least it should keep Calvert off our backs for a while, right?
You haven't had to worry about Calvert at all in this story so far, so...
They're as clueless as we are on what that thing is.
How do you know?
And they're not going to risk an attack before they know for sure.
How do you know? How do you get this intel? Like, even if she's connected with Claire and Claire has spies and... It's not... They haven't... It's been a day. Milliam's not the highest priority for sharing information about this type of thing, right? Until they reveal that it is important. If they eventually reveal that keeping her in the loop is super important, that could be fun.
Exactly. In a sense, it's doing the same thing for us the barrier around Crossbell City did before it up and vanished. It's probably the best distraction Erebonia could ask for about now.
Oh, is that what your bracer instincts are telling you?
It doesn't take a bracer to think that, Eustace. If Calvert were to invade right now while the war's going on...
But, like, I guess for some reason, the people in Erebonia, at least on this ship, can know that Calvard is unlikely to attack because a tree showed up because they don't know what the tree is. But they don't know that Calvard has its own internal conflict currently, I think is what Trails to Azure said. They were currently dealing with attacks within their own country themselves, so they wouldn't be in a position to start a war right now.
True. The situation we're under is plenty chaotic as it is.
All we can do right now is keep doing what we always have, and gather information. I'm sure we can do something to improve the situation here, but we don't know enough to decide what that something is.
That something would do nothing with regards to the tree, though, right?
I'm with Gaius. Let's just take a deep breath and do the best we can.
That's the best attitude to have right now, too. One thing we could do is keep looking around for other Thor students. We could always use more help, right?
You still need more Zemirian ore, too.
Oh, that's right. And there are still more spirit shrines left to explore as well.
As if that's an oh, that's right moment.
Strangely enough, our best course of action is to simply continue doing what we've always done, albeit with renewed dedication.
That's not strange. What they've always done was do whatever they possibly could. Like, it's not different. Why would it change? Nothing would change it. It's just...
That works for me.
No point in stating that. It's not strange.
Sounds like you've got things covered in the east, which means that all that's left for me is to wish you good luck. Take care of them. Okay, Sarah?
What else would I do? And you take care of yourself, too. We wouldn't want anything to happen to you before you reunite with your dearest Carnelia, now would we?
Yeah. Would you just drop that already? Anyway, keep it up, guys. I'll be in touch.
Oh, there goes all my fun.
What was all that about? Toval's girlfriend?
It did sound that way.
For further details, please consult a certain famous novel about a certain lovable scam. Now certainly available in all bookstores.
Please, please have it be purchasable in all stores. Please. Will you do it?
Poor Toval.
That's like the Carnelia series from, I think, Trails in the Sky, I assume.
Anyway, you should probably get to work.
I read those in first chapter and second chapter, but I can't remember anything specific other than that it was basically the summary of the life of the head of the Gralsritter.
The best place to start would be checking the latest requests from Prince Oliver.
That might have been, the Gralsritter story might have been Trails in the Sky the Third. Kilwij I Obl. Same extra activity list as every other time before. Canyon or Canyon. Prince Oliver, Scenic View, Aurochs Canyon. Volsuron, I don't know the pronunciation. Rosine concert in Celtic? Eh? Just concert's a weird choice. Just the word concert specifically. Like a musical performance feels... The concert feels too bombastic. Whereas a musical performance feels more solemn. And solemn or solemn adjacent feels better to me. Butler Klaus and Legram. Back to Lohengrin Castle. Which means I'm gonna be forced.
About Celtic.
I'm gonna be forced to bring Laura, probably.
Yeah, if we can, I'd love to help her out.
Me too. It's the least we can do after all the market manager did for us.
Again, refer to him by name, please.
I'm in agreement. We should try and help her if time permits.
Klaus also has something in mind for us, it would seem. And that being said, I think it'd be best if I were to accompany you for the time being.
I'd like to come along too, especially since we have the spirit shrines to worry about.
Wasn't she forced? Oh no, she was forced last time because Spirit Shrines as well.
Of course, Celine will be coming with me. You'll need both of us to get through the shrines after all.
That sounds fine by me. Thanks.
All right then, let's go.
Temporarily not possible to remove Laura. I think I'm gonna try swapping. Like, I'll probably I might equip Laura for the S-Break job. And switch in, and turn Fee into an evasion tank. Like, get her to 100% evasion, equip the Wrath Quartz that guarantees criticals on counterattacks. But I just remembered that I wanted to try, if the counterattacks do the bonus damage from Tauros, then that might actually be the best choice. Because if Tauros's attack bonus applies on counterattacks, which, as written, it seems like it should, but I'm not certain about that. But if it did, then that with where is it? Wrath would be pretty good. Now, to get Wrath usable, I would probably want 5% more evasion, then have insight always applied for 100%. And then it'd be counterattacking with criticals, which criticals are like 1.5x damage, and Tauros is 1.25x damage. So that would be, or 2.25 times damage times 1.5 would be over 3x damage. I'm just doing rough math. 3.375 maybe times damage on the counterattack. Could be pretty good. But I'm not gonna mess with the setup today. I'll deal with that later. Before I do though, I want to do this before I forget. I'm not gonna talk. I'm just gonna do this. A power orb 3. Speed orb 3. And HP orb 3. Then I can equip those. I didn't even equip the free HP orb that I had, huh? I didn't even bother. Okay, so I can equip multiple HP orbs of at least different levels. So it might be better to just stack, like, if I can put the same level, then speed orb 3, speed orb 3, speed orb 3 could be good. Or power, well no. Power orb 3, power orb 3, power orb 3 would probably be better. Because the guaranteed evasion counterattack is better with low speed. So actually boosting my speed might be bad, but it's too late now. I could reload, but that would have me going through the cutscenes again. So, I will continue next time. I will talk to the people around the ship. And then that will probably be it next time because there's a lot of people on the ship now. But after that, after all the ship stuff, it'll be time to explore around the country. So, have a nice day. Bye-bye.